E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guinois Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We were just a little bit late getting going there on the broadcast, and it was all my fault. I got to take credit for that one. But we're so glad that you're with us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com and the 7 Levels of Truth. Let me get Mr. Bill's book here, if I may. The 7 Levels of Truth by Mr. Bill Heinrich. And I'll always like to read the first comment on the back of this thing, because this really hits the bullet point of what makes it so great. This book is for anyone seeking answers, solutions, and success in life. Your birthright is abundance, love, peace, and joy. Isn't that amazing, Emerson, how that's our birthright? And so many times we don't even take that for granted, do we? We don't even about it.
You know, I think a lot of people just assume that struggling and dealing with disappointments and challenges and drama and other things are the normal and natural way that life is. It's just like that. And the reality is we make a lot of those decisions ourselves.
You're absolutely correct. We get caught up in the process rather than the content of what life is all about. And Bill, one day we were either on the TV show or the radio show. I forget which, because we've done so many shows together, me and Bill. And I was telling Bill, I said, Bill, I made a decision. He says, Jim, stop right there. He says, decisions are not good for you. And I'm going, okay. Now we're on live, either TV or radio, whatever it is, so you can't be edited out. And he says, don't make decisions. Instead, make choices, because once you make a decision, you've already got the parameters set up, the sides, the bottom, the top, all that in this mental box, and everything got to fit inside there. And you don't leave yourself open for opportunities where the energy will come to you and enable you to go and grow. And he's exactly right, isn't he, Emerson?
Yeah. It's those viewers who think, okay, that's splitting hairs. It really isn't. It's another example is the number of people who react, and I include myself in this. I think we all do it one time or another. We react to something that somebody else has said or done. And there's a big difference between reacting and responding.
Yes, it really is.
And when we respond, we're doing so with an open heart. We're doing so with a clear head. We're doing so without the emotional part of it attached. And when we react, what we're doing is saying, I'm holding on to this. I'm going to hold on to it. And for a lot of people, that's kind of a twisted kind of a thought. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that really is how it works.
Yeah. Years ago, I heard it explained like if a bird is flying, through the air, and someone takes like a kid takes a BB gun and fires a BB shot at it and doesn't hit the bird's not hurt. The bird just continues to go on. The bird doesn't stop, turn around and, start an argument or a conversation or anything like it. In other words, it doesn't stop the bird from living its pathway of life. And that's what we need to do. I know that when I'm sitting at a stoplight, and it's been proven, the second person in behind the front car or vehicle, they will see the light turn green before the first person does.
And so they blow their horn.
They'll tap their horn or something like that. And I know some people that say, when someone does that to me, I'll just sit there a little longer. And not me. I mean, for years. Yeah. No, I've always
just doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do them any good.
Yeah. I've always just kind of like threw up my hand. Hey, thanks, man. I get out of the way, because, my agenda is not to inflict, something on them, because they may be late for an appointment. They may be having something else they're dealing with that has nothing to do with me. They just want me to get out of their way. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the way I look at it. And today,
normally what happens is we react to the selfishness of the moment.
Good way of putting that.
There are a lot of selfish people out on the road.
Oh yeah.
Whose time and whose appointments and whose needs and whose everything else in their life is more important than any of the other people, and they'd be really happy if everybody pulled over. In fact, they'd be very happy if they were able to drive an ambulance all the time, so people had to move out of the way.
Yeah, that's true. And I've seen a few. I don't watch them that often because they're always so negative and stuff. These road rage YouTube videos, and 90%.
I don't watch those.
Oh, I've watched a few of them, but 90% of the times are the ones that I've watched. The people who are not giving the other person a break, they force the issue. I mean, when I'm going down the road and someone's wanting to merge in or something, I'll back off and give them some room, because I know that if I, deliver something positive like that and give someone a break, they will pass it on, because that's what we're supposed to do, is pay it forward. But make sure we pay it forward in a positive way. And
they may or may not pass it on, but the thing is that we shouldn't let their actions or inactions affect our actions. And it's safer and easier. It's not always what I want to do, but it's safer and easier to just back off of the accelerator and say have a good life.
Oh yeah, just give them a little extra room. It's no big deal. I mean, it's 50 feet going to change your life.
I remember teaching my daughters when they were learning to drive. In the Old West, they called the 6-shooter, when it came out, the great equalizer.
Oh yeah.
And it was. It changed the dynamics, not all for the positive, but it changed the dynamics. Well, traffic lights are the great equalizer today. when you're driving, and how many times has it happened? Somebody has gunned it, cut you off in traffic, flying down the road, and what happens? They hit a red light. Or you're the one who can't stand being behind this slowpoke.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 cars ease their way past you, and as soon as the last one's gone, you gun it and get around them.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't, those extra seconds really don't make that much difference.
No. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll be honest with you. When I was younger and dumber, as I like to say, now I'm just older and dumb. But there was a time when I would pass up somebody like that and then get caught by that red light that Emerson is talking about, and they'd be right behind me. And it's embarrassing. And I decided I'm not going to do this anymore. Well,
nowadays they got out of their car with a gun,
Oh yeah. Oh,
I've actually had through nothing that I had done. I just wasn't going fast enough for them.
Wow.
I actually had somebody waving a gun out the window at me.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I mean, that people can be crazy,
Yeah. That is so bad. And And we're going to be talking today a little bit about, fatigue and stuff like that, because that is something that is really,
Yeah, I don't know. I got off on the road rage.
oh, it was my fault. But, we enjoy visiting with people and sharing
Well,
information.
fatigue is something that I can definitely relate to, and I know you can too. You
Yes.
had the major heart issue uh, here year and a half or so ago, and I had
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
the traumatic brain injury,
Yes, you did,
and
brother.
you know your brain affects your brain chemistry is what affects everything in your body.
Yes, it
And
does.
we're going to be talking a little bit, I know, about this, but
Hmm.
um, a lot of things in my life uh, have not come back completely. Thank goodness, most of my memory is there,
Hmm.
and uh, both professionally as well as my family, my kids, things like that.
Hmm.
And my personality, for the most part, hasn't had a major change. But
Not at all.
fatigue is something that creeps up on me a lot, and your
Hmm.
brain controls those chemicals
Hmm.
that drive your energy level. They drive your attitude, your feelings, your thoughts and emotions, and all of that.
Hmm.
And a lot of what we'll talk about today are different foods that are known to help you in the area of fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
And what's important for people to understand is that everything that we take into our body affects our brain chemistry
Hmm.
and other parts of our body, the chemistry in the gut and other areas too. But everything that we take in affects that, and that is the control center for our energy levels and our fatigue.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
You're absolutely right. And one of the things that I read many years ago, and why Asian people, we have to be so careful now on how we refer to people, but people in Japan and different Asian countries, um, one of the reasons why they are slender, of course, is their diet, but also, too, one of the things that the people in Japan were known for, and I don't know this could be true in other areas like Asia or wherever, um, but they get up in the morning and the first thing they do is drink a glass of water. And this one guy was saying, hey, you could put in lemon in your water. You could put in apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of it.
I know you do that every day, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
That
do. I
changes the
do.
pH in your body, and that affects
Yes.
your brain.
Yes. So, my ritual when I get up in the morning, I drink the water and I usually I got to give a shout out for Nicole and the wonderful product she makes. She's in Austin, Texas, good friend of mine. um, toughmotherbrand.com. She has apple cider vinegar and all these other ingredients in there. And I remember one morning I took a tablespoon of it, put it in there, and put some ice cubes in there, and put some water in there, and I drank it and all. And afterwards, man, I felt really good. I felt, hey, okay, I'm feeling good. Now it's time for me to enjoy my coffee. That's the way I treat myself before I have my first cup of coffee. But a lot of people, they have a willingness to want to do something, Emerson, but they have this tiredness or this fatigue that sets in.
Hmm.
And I guess we've all felt that, our body just doesn't have enough energy to do what it is that we want to do at times. And regardless of the number of the hours we sleep, um, a lot of people wake up and they're still tired through the day, and or they don't feel, like they're fully refreshed. I know for myself, personally speaking, I normally require about 6 hours of sleep, and I'll wake up and I'm refreshed and I'm ready to go, and I get up and go. But if on the weekend, if I get up and go to the restroom, come back and lay down and drift off for another hour or two, I don't feel as good.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So that's just me. But Emerson, I know you've experienced a lot about fatigue and all that, and the how that the tiredness uh, the exhaustion and tiredness, and it's a mental state. It's also a physical state.
And what's interesting is for me is my natural tendency is to power through things.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously I've done years and years of copywriting for just hundreds and hundreds of companies and thousands of campaigns. And when you are on a deadline, you're pushing through. And so I have just naturally developed this kind of soldiering through. And the challenge that I experience now is I'm not always aware that I'm fatigued.
Yeah.
How many of you can understand that? And suddenly I'm like somebody just took all the air out of my balloon. I've gone to sleep on the couch more times than I can since
Oh yeah.
Since I've experienced all of this. And it's like I'm going, and then I'm like, I'm just,
yeah.
And there's fatigue there, and I'm trying to relearn recognizing those signs of it. And fortunately, we don't have, because of my wife, as some of the viewers may know, my wife is a lifetime type 1 diabetic. So we don't have a diet that's high in sugar or high in salt or high in fat, or high in carbohydrates, all of which are things that will contribute to fatigue.
Yeah.
They'll contribute to that fatigue. Too much salt and you get a lot of sluggishness that takes place. Carbohydrates, you get a high and then you have a crash. The same thing with sugar, and on and on and on. What we eat and our environment and everything that is coming into our space, into our body, into us, mentally, physically, in every other way, all of those things affect our brain chemistry. And when our brain chemistry gets on a tilt, fatigue is one of those main things that that we will experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing how, even though we're fatigued or we may be ill or something like that, and we all have that tendency to soldier on. And a quick story, back in February of 2018 it was, I was down in Largo, Florida, and we were at an event. In fact, that's where I met Emerson originally at the Speaking Empire. And a lot of good people came through there. A lot of good, just a boatload of good people and friendships that we have. And I left a half a day early because I felt I was getting sick, and I didn't want to get anybody else sick.
When you were doing, like, not my class. It's like when you were doing a presentator or one of those.
I was doing the what did they have down? No, it was a event where they bring everybody in, and
I think they called it Amplify or something.
Amplify, like that. Yeah, that was it. That's where I was, and I remember I walked over and I told Dave, and the guy says, "Listen, I've got to take off. I'm getting sick, and I don't want to give whatever I've got to anybody else." And I always like to drive, and so.
Did you drive there from Texas?
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, always did. I hate airports. I hate airplanes.
Did you drive straight through, or did you spend the night somewhere?
Oh, no. I always stop, spend the night. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hike.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're at.
Oh, yeah. You get to hear all the popular songs on the radio. You get to, I love it because there's places I'd stop along the way because I learned to drive 1 mile at a time and observe and, take in the different things and that sort of thing. And
I've never driven out to where you're at,
but
in my first marriage, my first family lived in South Texas in the Rio Grande Valley
Yeah,
area.
yeah, yeah.
And so I drove that many, many, many times.
Mhm.
Boy, going across that area north of New Orleans. It's you
Mhm.
have about 20 miles just of one long bridge.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
going through there at 1 in the morning, it's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
do. I would. I've driven it straight through. I would
Oh,
way
yeah.
before my kids
Oh,
um,
yeah.
were older. Way before that, we started spending the night halfway somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
Halfway. It just
Yeah,
didn't make it was a 25-hour trip for us.
yeah. I,
And you're young and youngin' and gunning, you just power through. You just keep going like we were talking about. You just keep on
oh,
going.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I left there and I was driving from rest area to rest area and I was stopping and resting because I did not feel good at all, ladies and gentlemen. And, and I thought, well, I want to just, I'm resting a little bit in the car and I don't want to spend, money to stop for 3 hours in a motel or something like that because I wasn't resting well. I wasn't sleeping good. And I got to Beaumont, Texas, and I figured, well, I'm gonna stop in at the VA center there and have them check me out and see what's going on. But there was a clinic and they couldn't get me in, so they sent me over to the hospital. And I had driven about 900 miles at that point. And the doctor came in and the nurse came in, they took my vitals, says, you've got the flu and you've got a temperature. And she says, I started asking me questions. I said, well, I left Largo, Florida yesterday and, been on the road driving. She says, are you crazy? I said, well, it sounds like I'm a good candidate for the crazy award. And my daughter got in touch with me there. She says, Dad, you spend the night there. I said, I'm only 3 hours from home. I can make it. You spend the night there or I'm going to scalp you. So I said, like a real man, I said, yes, ma'am. So I took my orders from her and went on. But, when we soldiering on, there's a lot of things that we can do. And one of the foods I want to talk about, Emerson, is bananas.
Oh yeah,
Oh, bananas are just wonderful, aren't they?
they are so good on so many different levels.
Mm-hmm.
People who have circulation issues, leg cramps,
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good for that.
Mm-hmm.
For ripening fruit, we get avocados, and I always
Oh,
buy a
yeah.
few bananas and keep them
Mm-hmm.
there with the avocados to ripen them, and
Mm-hmm.
and they're on and on and on. But
Yeah.
when it comes to energy, I'll let you take it back over here. When it comes
Oh,
to energy, it's a whole different. They're special.
yeah. Yeah. Bananas, they kind of top the list with a lot of people because they provide your body with the energy that we need. They're one of the healthiest fruits in the world, for that matter, and because they're full of potassium, and that contributes to making sugar, which becomes useful energy for our body to absorb. And they also have other nutrients in the bananas, such as vitamin C, vitamin B, fiber, omega-3 fatty acid. And the benefit of bananas is just, it just goes on and on.
I
This
like
fruit,
how you look off to the side when you're doing that, like you're pulling all this out of your head. He's reading it, folks.
well, my notes are up
I
there
read it
too.
too.
Yeah, my notes are up there too. I got to glance up there once in a while. Yeah.
No, I
And
got it.
yeah,
We can't
yeah,
know
they
all this
know
stuff
they
just
know
off the
I'm
top
not
of our
that
head.
smart.
They know it. I know.
Yeah,
I'm just playing with you.
everybody knows it. And benefit of bananas too is the natural sugars such as glucose and fructose, and it
Yeah.
also it helps us to recover quickly. In the morning, I enjoy eating bananas, and it's just a wonderful it's a wonderful fruit. We're just so blessed to have bananas, and it also helps improve the digestive system, and it also strengthens the health heart. They one method they recommend here is take 2 ripe bananas, eat them every day. Do this process once every day. Another method they talk about here is to prepare 2 ripe bananas, peel them, cut them into small pieces, and put the pieces in a bowl, then mash them up in a smooth paste and consume the paste 2 times every day. Now, I got to stop right there because when I take about putting bananas in a bowl and mashing them up. Guess what else I would put in there, Emerson? Peanut butter. I love
Okay, yeah.
peanut butter and banana.
Peanut butter and banana
Yeah,
sandwich.
when
Yeah.
I was a kid, I'd take that to lunch to school. I carry the little brown paper bag, being a country boy, you know.
I still like to make a peanut butter and banana.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
know, there was
just
a famous story, and I don't have it in front of me here. I'm just pulling this out of the recesses, but there was a place, I think it was in Vegas, that Elvis liked. It was like his favorite place for a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
oh
And
yeah.
on at least one or two occasions, he packed a bunch of people into his jet, his 727, I think it was, jet,
Yeah.
In Memphis, and flew out there to have peanut butter and banana sandwiches in his place.
I remember hearing that story.
They're
Yeah,
not
that
that
was
hard to make, folks.
yeah. Yeah, I tell you, it's just they're just it's a they go together very, very good. They really
Yeah.
do. And when I read that about the putting the pieces of banana up and mashing them up, in a bowl, and I mean, it's just I thought,
See, I
wow, I
never
got to
mash
tell
it with
about
my sandwich, though. I just slice it.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
slice them,
mhm,
lengthwise.
yeah. I've done that, and of course, the circular, just
I've
get
done
about
that too.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I slice them lengthwise, and I'll make a triple decker, Joe. A
So
triple
after
decker, and I'll
after the
use
show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go over to
yeah,
Emerson's house for banana sandwiches.
with a thin layer of really good preserves, like
Oh
fig
yeah,
preserves or peach
yeah.
preserves on part of
Well,
it. But yeah,
one
triple
of
decker.
one of my favorites is good mayonnaise. I like mayonnaise on there with my bananas.
Oh yeah,
I tell
my
you.
dad used to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he'd sprinkle a little sugar on the mayonnaise too. I don't do
Oh
that,
my.
but anyway,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. And the
they're
third
crazy,
method,
but it's
yeah.
bananas are good.
Oh yeah. You can tell we like bananas.
Yeah, when I'm
And
traveling, the thing that I tend to default to, because when you travel and speak and or start you're working, which I've done
mhm,
quite a bit of over the years, but your diet's all off, and
mhm.
fatigue is one of the big issues on the road.
Oh
And
yeah.
one of the things that's a staple for me is oatmeal with bananas, and I usually will have raisins in it too.
Hmm.
But
Oh.
just slice them up into
Mm,
the
mm,
oatmeal and having that, and it gives you the slow
mhm,
carbs,
mhm.
and you're also getting really good fiber when you do that.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
it has a staying power that kind of helps you through uh, uncertain schedules and other things, and it's just good just
Yeah.
even at the home.
Yeah.
And I think it's
Exactly.
one of the ones on the list. I think oatmeal's the third or fourth one down on the list, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is, and we'll try to get there.
We'll
Uh,
get there.
it, oh yeah, yeah. Because remember, like Emerson says, when you're on the road, and we've been on the road a lot and have spoken a lot of stages and all that. Goodness gracious, your digestion gets off because that
Mm.
you don't eat that well. You don't eat that balanced. But
No, your
bananas
sleep
of
is off, your
yep,
schedule's off, your food
yeah.
is off. It's not You don't have as much control over your food. Yeah.
Mm-mm, not at all. And the beauty too, you're riding down the road, you can peel a banana and eat it with one hand, and
Mhm.
it's a nice little snack. It really is. And I was just going to cover here real quickly. The third method they recommend is take a ripe banana, peel it, cut it in thin slices in a bowl, prepare a cup of milk, put it in a microwave for a few seconds to warm it, and pour the milk in the bowl. Mix them well, and add 2 teaspoons of organic sugar, and also pour a teaspoon of Calgee. You ever heard of that Calgee? Ghee?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
G is
sprinkle some. Yeah,
that
it's
is a
Cal, COW. Second word
right.
Ghee. I've never heard of that before.
It's When I think of it, I think of the Himalayas,
Oh, okay,
and I
okay.
think of it like
Mm,
as a butter maybe type of thing.
hmm,
Let me look it up here
hmm.
real quick, Jim,
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Um,
Go ahead, and while you're doing that,
yeah,
I'm
it's
going to go
it's a
right
it's
in.
a type of butter. Yeah, it's a type of clarified butter.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's
That is that.
so whenever if you have lobster, you have drawn butter. Very similar.
Hmm.
Very similar.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, one thing too is a great. We all know this is a great tea for us, and that's green tea. Emerson, I don't know how much green tea you drink. I drink it often from time to time, but green tea is
Mhm.
just, I remember years ago, I got to tell this story while you get your thoughts together there, Emerson. Uh, what was amazing is that I remember we were in our teenage years, young and dumb, and we would always make jokes about someone's grandma. Grandma drinks her green tea and how she feels so good and all that. And we were thinking, grandma's putting something in that tea. But little did we did not know and did not appreciate. We were too young and too dumb to appreciate, but the benefits of the green tea, the oxalic acid in there that's in the plant that
Mhm.
gives you the energy. There's just a lot of good things about the green tea. And I don't think anyone can say anything negative about green tea. It's just a wonderful tea for a good tonic for the body, is the way I describe it.
Yeah, it
And
has
there's,
lots of oxidants in
mm,
it.
hmm
It's uh, unless you get decaf, which we do, but uh, it does have caffeine in it. If
hmm
you're looking for a low caffeine, if you drink energy drinks and things like that, you will get that from tea or
hmm
coffee, unless
right.
you're doing decaf.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm gonna toss this in, Jim, about
Okay.
caffeine,
All right.
which I'll drink caffeine. I'm not um, opposed to caffeine or anything, although
Hmm.
it does have some negative effects when you have too much of it in your body. But years and years ago, Jim, you may not know this, I was a representative for Corey Coffee. And back in the day, every restaurant, every diner you went into, they had Corey Coffee and
Really?
Corey coffee pots and
Hmm.
everything else. But I was a rep for
Yeah.
them. And I put in office coffee systems back then. I was in my
Wow.
20s.
Hmm.
And so I had some really good coffee that we would put in after we set it all up. And people would come and stand around and just smell it, and they'd just be so
Mm.
excited because it had some old crappy, you know, cheap
Yeah.
coffee maker in there, you know,
Oh.
or a percolator or whatever that tasted terrible.
Mm.
And so I got in
Yeah.
a habit of making the first two pots decaf
Mm.
and serving it to the people so they could taste it out of the new pot, out
Wow.
of the new coffee maker.
Hmm.
And Jim, if I'm lying, I'm talking. People would take a big old sip of that decaf coffee. Go, man, I can feel it coursing through my veins, man. That's what I needed. That's the real thing.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I got to have my first cup of first
Mhm.
cup of Joe in the morning, get my caffeine going. And
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
ever figured it out that I was serving them decaf coffee. But
Mhm, mhm.
psychologically,
Oh,
having
yeah.
that warm drink that first thing in the morning, having that psychologically,
Mhm.
that did it. It
Oh,
it
yeah.
triggered everything that they were looking at. And if you use a lot of caffeine, and Jim mentioned energy drinks, I think a minute ago. If you
Mhm.
use a lot of caffeine, just like sugar, can cause you to crash and have total fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
over a period of time isn't that great for your nerves and everything
Mm-mm.
else either.
Not at all.
And so many drinks, coffee, normal tea, of course, energy drinks, things like
Mhm.
that. So many things have caffeine in it. Consider consider cutting back on the caffeine,
Mhm.
trying the coffee 50-50,
Mm.
not drinking several energy drinks in the during the day. I mean,
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
if you're totally just wiped out and it's 3 in the afternoon, you got 4 hours to go, have an energy drink. It's fine.
Hmm.
I'm not, um, I'm, I'm not anti caffeine like that.
Hmm.
But
Right,
you will
right.
find you will have more energy longer term
Hmm.
and more clarity longer term
Hmm.
if you take some of that caffeine out.
Hmm. Hmm.
And all I'm saying is consider it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I did it with hundreds and hundreds of people, and
Mhm.
nobody ever figured it out. They all thought they were getting that caffeine
Mm.
charge.
I remember years ago seeing those Corey, Cory, Corey coffee.
CRI, yeah.
Yeah. And are they still around or
I
did
don't think
they?
so. I think
Okay.
like many other
They probably
companies, they
got
were
bought out by
absorbed.
somebody.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
the pots and the machines and everything else said coffee. It
Mm.
said Corey Coffee, and every
Yeah.
diner, every restaurant you went to, basically that was the preferred coffee. They may have been at the time. I don't know. They may have been the only one that nationwide
Mhm.
was totally oriented towards food service industry at the time. I don't. I
Yeah.
really don't know, but
I
yep.
think they got bought by let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here right quick, but they probably let's see, COR. Okay. Okay. In 1967, the Hershey Chocolate Company, I guess they owned them and they bought the Corey Corporation. And later they sold the division to ARA Services, which is Aramark. Aramark.
Aramark. Yeah,
Aramark. Yeah.
that's food service. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess indirectly they may have, just absorbed, but do you think they would have kept the brand name because it had such a strong brand name? I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe
Yeah,
they didn't.
I've been in marketing my entire career,
Mhm.
and I've done well over 10,000 campaigns during that time. And I see things all the time that I just shake my head. And
Yeah.
I'll give you an example here. My wife was she started the art program at Florida State College
Mhm.
campus here in Jacksonville,
Mhm.
and she also did a lot of public murals. Well, one of the murals was she was hired by was the Jacksonville Jaguars,
Oh,
and it was the
yeah.
largest hand painted mural in America.
Yeah.
It was 100 feet high and 220 feet wide. And every time there was a game here, and the Goodyear blimp was here, they'd always fly over it and make a whole thing about the mural. And it
Mm.
became a real centerpiece, focal point for the city.
Hmm.
And the bank building that owned it, the bank that owned it was sold.
Mhm.
And the new bank didn't want to have any kind of strings. There weren't any strings, but they didn't want to have any kind of strings to anything, any old contracts or anything. So they painted over the whole thing about 2 months before we had the Super Bowl here. And it would have
Oh.
been massively seen all over the world.
Mm. And if they'd been smart, they could have stuck their logo in there, huh?
And the logo for the bank was there, and they could have definitely put their logo there and then painted it over the next week, you know?
Mm.
So I see ridiculous um, marketing decisions, not just
Mm.
campaigns. We all see ridiculous marketing campaigns. You
Mhm.
know, you go, what are they thinking? But
Yeah.
ridiculous marketing decisions, and it's hard to understand it. You have
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what does it say when Corey started?
Let me look that back up here.
Probably in the 30s.
They
So
were granted a patent for the glass filler rod back in 1939.
so in the 30s. So
Yeah.
when they eliminated that brand, they eliminated 50 years of brand recognition. Just
Yeah.
like them. That's not necessarily clear-headed thinking in my mind. In my
It's
humble but accurate opinion.
my humble but accurate opinion. Hint, hint. Yeah. I hear you there, brother. I mean, it's just amazing how sometimes you wonder what was the thinking process in that. I mean, I got to ask you a question. Do you have a photograph of Ann's work that's 100 foot high, that mural, and 200 foot long? Was it, or 200 and?
I do. I don't know if I have one that I can pull up while we're here.
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
let me just look. Like,
Okay.
we'll
Well, I
keep
tell you.
talking.
Okay. Yeah. And because I would
Well,
love to
you know
see
what?
that.
We'll show it on a different show. I'll pull it up before a show.
Hmm.
Because
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure I can put my
Hmm.
hands on it right this second.
Hmm. Yeah, that's wonderful. I should have. We've talked about before. I should have already, thought of that, because I imagine some of the folks out there in TV land would love to see that.
You know,
And
yeah, I can. Yeah, actually, they can see it at. You can put in her website because they can see it there. AnnBanas.com. ANNEBANAS. And
okay, let me pull that up right quick. And oh, there it is. Is that it with the football players there? That's just a
yeah.
picture of
That's it.
it. Mhm. Okay, okay.
And
What we
she's
will
standing about
do,
2 blocks away from it there.
yeah, what we'll do here, ladies and gentlemen, for you folks out there in TV land, we would just simply create a banner for it, and
Yeah,
a
there you
website,
go.
yeah, and therefore, there it is. Is that it? I copied and pasted it right there. Do you see it on?
I'm
Do
not
you see
seeing
it?
it.
You don't see it on the ticker down there, the marquee?
No. Oh, the yes, the website.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Mhm.
Yep,
You go
that's it.
there and you can see that, and I'm looking at it right now, and
I don't think it's a HTTPS though. I think it's just a.
I just copied it and
Oh, did
pasted
you?
it right
Okay. All right.
right from the website. I sure did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got the number one kicking, the field goal kicker, 87, who looks like a receiver, a lineman, number 99, 97, and 82, and coach behind them. And oh my goodness, that's,
Yeah, those were members of the first team.
yeah. And so that originally was 100 foot high and 200 foot long.
And
Was
it
that the?
started 6 stories up on she had on top of a top of a parking garage up, and they had 14 levels of scaffolding, which you can see when you go to that site. 14 levels of scaffolding in order to make it work. Pretty amazing.
Wow.
Pretty amazing, because every one of those scaffold levels was 220 feet wide, long.
Yeah, that was
14
the
levels
country.
of that up the side of that building.
Yeah, that was the country's first. That was the nation's largest hand printed mural.
Oh yeah.
Holy smokes!
Okay,
Holy
here's
smokes!
you know why she took on that commission?
Mm-mm.
Anne's always been afraid of heights, and she refuses to live in fear.
Wow.
I give that to every one of you out there who have some things holding you back, some ticks or some fears.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was why she took on the project.
That is truly amazing. I just got to say one more about it, just for, it shows Mike Hollis, number 1. He was the kicker. Keenan Carndale and number 87, wide receiver. Joel Smeege, Smeenge, Smeege. Is that correct? And
Swingy, I think it's
okay, yeah. And the coach in the background is Tom Coughlin. Ronaldo Wynn, number 97, and Jimmy Smith, 82, were all part of the Jacksonville Jaguars first team. What an honor. And goodness gracious, it's really amazing that, you can see it there. Oh my gosh. The pictures there. That thing is way up there. I mean,
look at the cars.
Yeah.
And the SUVs
Mhm.
that you can see at the base of it, because each one of the feet of the players was about 25 feet in
Yeah.
length.
And those cars are sitting in a parking lot. I mean, a parking garage there, right?
Yeah, they're 6 stories up where they're
Yeah,
at.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, you see the pictures there. I mean, that's an amazing thing to go see. It really is. And Ann is just a wonderful lady. And my goodness gracious. We just, it's a pleasure for her to be part of my extended family because we're all brothers and sisters by different mothers. And I tell you right now, uh, that when I heard the story about that, I go like, wow, I don't know how that came up, but it just came up, and I'm so glad it did because we want to share that with the folks. Now, another food we want to get to two more foods here as time is
Yes.
clicking down here. One is pumpkin seeds. Are you familiar with pumpkin
Oh,
seeds?
yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, pumpkin seeds, you could throw them in salads. You
Mm,
roast them, you eat them out of the,
mm,
just by the handfuls, but they're loaded with all sorts of nutrients
mm,
that your body will draw. And,
mm,
you know, those are the things, those are real, I think this is the running theme in all of these. Excuse me, Jim,
mm,
is these are real nutrients that we're talking about
mm.
that your body will draw from and use the way that it's designed to use them.
Yes.
It's not artificial things that we're taking in order to give us, some type of energy or supplemental um,
Hmm.
intake. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This
Hmm.
is in the raw form, or in the baked, or in the cooked form, but in the raw form, food that has been, our bodies have adapted to this food in its natural state with all of the other nutrients and things that are in it. That's how it works the best.
Hmm.
That's how it works the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, because when I get, we're going to get into oatmeal here. Before we do, I want to get into one of my favorite nuts, and that's walnuts. I love walnuts. Oh my goodness. When you make oatmeal and you put walnuts in there and you put some cinnamon in there, oh goodness, that's the cat's meow for me. Because walnuts are very, very effective. All of these nuts and like pumpkin seeds, they have the omega-3 fatty acids and all the good stuff in there that we need. But my goodness gracious, uh, in the recommendations here, we're under trueremedies.com. That's the website we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. You eat one quarter cup of shelled walnuts every day and snack on some roasted walnuts all day. My goodness gracious. I could live off of walnuts. I must be part squirrel or something. I don't know. But I know that yeah, when it comes to
Well, they're
walnuts, I
tree
mean,
nuts.
yeah,
They're tree nuts. And
they
and
sure are.
pecans are the same.
Yeah,
Pecans
yeah.
also have an awful lot of the same types of
Hmm.
nutrients. Every one of the different tree nuts
Hmm.
are are recommended
Hmm.
for your overall
Hmm.
health.
Hmm. And when you do these, add these ingredients or different foods and stuff into your system, and you drink lots of fresh water. A lot of people we hear about drinking water, but it's very very
Mhm.
important because our bodies are what 75% water or something like that. We're kind of like a bag of water, in a way. But just putting the lemon in there, or just drink some good water. I mean, it gives you you got enough fluid now inside your body to be able to really for it to operate the way it should. And of course, with oatmeal, Emerson, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about oatmeal, but
Well,
I
well,
love,
let me hit on the water for just a second. It's something
okay.
that you mentioned earlier on, that many people in Eastern countries,
Uh-huh.
that drinking water first thing
Hmm.
is something that they do, and I can attest to that. One of the things that I'm a lot more aware of, than I was before, was was my brain and brain activity, and having a traumatic brain injury. I'm very very grateful for having uh, recovered
Amen.
largely from it, even though I had a second collision in our car that shook it up quite a bit more. But I'm very much aware of my brain, and in the mornings when you get up, your brain is, it's the water, okay? You are needing water.
Yes.
You're needing water.
Mm-hmm.
There's dehydration that takes place. The brain can't produce it itself.
Mm-hmm.
You need water. And it's a tough thing for a lot of people. I'll include myself in this, to drink enough water.
Mm-hmm.
And drinking tea or sodas or coffee,
Mm-mm.
it's not the same thing.
No.
When you're drinking just water, it has so much more ability to take nutrients and move them through your body. It hasn't been filled up with other stuff.
Yeah.
That cuts that ability down. So I encourage everybody, myself, and I can't say that I'm always as good at following it as I should be, but I really focus on starting out with water, having water with every meal, and having water during the day.
Yeah, because drinking a glass of water before you eat, a lot of times we kind of confuse hunger instead of thirst, because a lot of times we're thirsty and we think it's hunger, and we'll eat something. And when it comes to drinking enough water, you mentioned that we get dehydrated during the night because our body fasts when we sleep. And of course, when we have our morning meal, they call it what? Breakfast, but it was 2 words: break fast, because you're literally breaking the fast. And so when you come out of a fast, naturally you need to drink water. We've only got about 3 minutes left, but let's talk a little bit about oatmeal, because I love oatmeal with walnuts in it and cinnamon in it. Oh man, it's good stuff, ain't it, Emerson?
It is. And if you are like the example that I used, you can use it at home too. We don't eat oatmeal every single day.
No,
we eat it 2 or 3 times a week though, and it's high in fiber. It's high in all sorts of nutrients. We like mixing steel cut oats with our regular oatmeal, just for texture. Some people don't like, if all you've ever had is instant oatmeal out of a packet, I feel sorry for you.
Amen.
Because it's basically a bucket of mush when you get it. and when you cook oatmeal, it takes 3 minutes or whatever to cook it. When you cook it, it actually has some texture. It has a little bit of chew to it. And it's great for fiber. It's great for all sorts of other nutrients. And just about anybody can eat it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and it
that's
sticks
true.
with you. It really does. It sticks with you.
Yeah.
And that's where that energy that you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need to have that energy to be able to draw from.
Absolutely. And it's our privilege to be here today and share some information with you about how to overcome stress or fatigue. When you put good nutrients in your body and you give it adequate water, you have enabled your body to operate at the level it's supposed to operate at.
Yeah.
And because, as the old saying goes, your body is a processing center. It's not a recycling center.
I thought it was a temple.
That could be that too. But you know what I mean? I mean, when I was younger, I used to think, man, if I could eat what I want to in this is when I was in my 50s. I was still kind of dumb then. Eat like I did in my 30s, take some herbs and all of that, and I'm good to go. Best of both worlds. But the world doesn't turn that way. Your body has to process exactly what you put in it. And if you're experiencing fatigue, take a look at this and go to the website that I just mentioned there. It's called TrueRemedies.com, and they have a tab there, Home Remedies for fatigue. And be sure and do some research on your own. Look at that and find something that works for you. I mean, just keep on keeping on, because what's good for the goose may not be good for the gander, but there is something there that'd be good for you. Emerson, I tell you right now, this hour has flown by, hasn't it?
Yep.
It really has. It's so good to see you again and have you back. And, you know, you're going to get ready to go on another cruise here in a few weeks. And it's nice that you're, I'm glad that you're able to just get up and go like that, brother. I really am.
Well, it'll be a working cruise. And
Yeah,
I'll be it'll be long days, and I'll be experiencing a lot of fatigue. It's not. This isn't a pleasure cruise for me, but
yeah.
I mean, it'll be. We'll have some time for some fun and things like that too. But it's a working cruise with with several hundred other people who are in marketing from all over the world. So it'll be long days and a lot of work, and I'll be definitely watching what I eat so that I be able to control the fatigue better.
So yeah, you can just leave a pound of walnuts or whatever there with Emerson's name on it there at the dock, and he'll be glad to take them, huh? I tell you. No, but we're so glad to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in today. And remember, above all things, to love yourself and love others. And because if you love yourself, then you have the capacity to love others and be a good friend to them. And we want to thank you folks from all over the world that tune in and watch our show. On behalf of Emerson and the team and myself here, we are so grateful that you tuned in today. We hope you have a blessed evening or day or whenever you see this online at YouTube or on our website or wherever. Just be sure and share the show with others. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.